Have you ever thought about what's waiting for you at the breakfast table? Steaming, rich broth with the aroma of garlic and spring dimension. Now you might be wondering what's in for you. Want to start their day with a bowl of soup that's full of surprise. To a breakfast that's not just a meal, but an experience. A secret surprise that's as exciting as it is nourishing. What if we tell you that your usual morning meal has twist? Intrigued, aren't you? Well, get ready as we reveal a breakfast that's going to redefine your morning routine. Picture a steaming, rich broth with the aroma of garlic and spring onions tickling your senses. Add some tofu and spinach, a texture play that's also loaded with protein and iron. Hold on, we're just getting started. Now think about an egg, gently cracked and perfectly cooked in the simmering soup. The white sets beautifully while the yolk remains deliciously runny, ready to enrich your soup with its creamy goodness. And just when you think you've reached the peak, a dash of soy sauce and a hint of sesame oil are stirred in, catapulting the flavour to a different dimension. Now you might be wondering what's in for you. Every spoonful is a delightful burst of flavours and textures, and the egg, oh, the egg is a whole new journey on its own. A surprise package, a taste of the white, a bite of the yolk, or a delightful combination of both. Make way for the morning egg soup that's not just satisfying and nutritious, but also adds a thrilling start to your day. This is more than a recipe, it's a breakfast adventure, teasing and tantalising your senses. Because who wouldn't want to start their day with a bowl of soup that's full of surprises? Start by preparing a hearty vegetable broth. This for other ingredients, but also helps to intensify. The key to a great broth is quality, so opt for a vegetable broth that's rich in flavour and packed with nutrients. Pour the broth into a large pot and apply heat. As it warms, the aroma should start to fill your kitchen. This is the first step in creating our morning egg soup. Remember, patience is a virtue in cooking. Allow the broth to reach a steady boil. This not only ensures that it's hot enough to cook our other ingredients, but also helps to intensify the flavour. As the broth bubbles away, take a moment to appreciate the simplicity of this dish. It's amazing how a few basic ingredients can transform into something so delicious. With the broth boiling, it's time for the fun part. Now, you might be tuning in expecting a surprise ingredient when treated with care and respect on our radio show, Soup, on Jane Fitzcastelia and Friends radio show. Well, adjust your radio dials for a shock, because the surprise is there's no surprise. Yes, you heard it right through your speakers. No secret ingredient, no exotic spice, no vegetable. We're broadcasting our belief in the simplicity and purity of the flavours we are building. This soup is a testament to how a few humble ingredients, when treated with care and respect on our radio show, can create a dish that sends out waves of remarkable taste. It's all about letting the ingredients speak for themselves, about amplifying their natural flavours and textures through our radio waves. So as we move forward in our culinary broadcast, remember, sometimes less really is more. Now, let's move on to the next step and see, or rather hear, how our morning egg soup takes shape on the airwaves. As the broth gently simmers to perfection, we must... Jane, in with the Company, guides you through each step with a unique blend of humour and colour. The broth has its simmering point, and it's time to introduce the simplicity and purity in cooking has fundamentally shifted how we perceive food. It's more than just about the flavour, it's the process of crafting something exquisite and delectable from simple, unassuming ingredients. This vision is what sets the morning egg. But the magic doesn't end. Jane, in with the Company, has birthed a new radio station, lovingly nicknamed Poo Your Pants 120.77, quote, comma, wholly dedicated to the culinary arts. Frequently helmed by the unpredictably entertaining Miss Belle Pum, due to Emily Dickinson's unfortunate habit of falling asleep in her coffin, this station is a sanctuary for every food enthusiast. Just imagine preparing dinner whilst the station's on air. As Miss Belle Pum's distinctive voice guides you through each step with a unique blend of humour and culinary expertise, it would feel less like cooking and more like creating a masterpiece. The radio station transcends its platform. It's a gathering place for food enthusiasts to connect, share their passion, and learn from each other. So as we progress with our morning egg soup preparation, let's tap into the beats of Poo Your Pants 120.77, quote, comma, letting Miss Belle Pum's voice lead our gastronomic journey. Now back to our soup. The broth has its simmering point, and it's time to introduce the... Before we proceed with the eggs, let's take a quick detour. Horror. The solemnity of the occasion interrupted breaking news update from Poo Your Pants 120.77. It appears there's been a bit of a musical mishap. Miss Belle Pum and her band, in their usual enthusiastic spirit, were heading into a church to rehearse their latest culinary tune, Mamma Pia. However, in a rather unexpected turn of events, they accidentally marched in playing their instruments during a funeral. Oh, the horror! The solemnity of the occasion interrupted by the lively beats of Mamma Pia. Quite a faux pas, wouldn't you say? But knowing Miss Belle Pum, she'd probably turn it into a hysterical anecdote on her next show, reminding us that even in the face of such blunders, we must always find humour and move forward. Now, let's get back to our soup preparation. As we return to our simmering broth, let's keep the spirit of Mamma Pia alive, embracing the unexpected with a smile. Now, it's time for the eggs. Before we move on to the eggs, let's pause for a moment. The epitome of cuteness. And let's not forget Zoe. It's none other than our very own Miss Belle Pum's sister, Hauve, and her adorable children, Pole, Nuddles and Zoe. If you thought Miss Belle Pum was unique, wait till you meet her family. Hauve, like Zoe, is round and made of candy floss. She carries a sweet aura everywhere she goes, quite literally. Her children, Pole, the male polar bear, and Nuddles, the female golden bear, are the epitome of cuteness. And let's not forget Zoe, who's also made of candy floss and has short yellow hair in pigtails. They are an interesting bunch, aren't they? Now you might be wondering what brings them here. Well, they heard about our morning egg soup and couldn't resist a taste test. So let's welcome our special guests and continue our cooking adventure, adding a dash of sweetness to our savoury broth. On to the eggs. As we're getting ready to add the eggs, there's a sudden commotion. The creators of this video see him for what he is, a peaceful cooking session. In strides the tall, imposing figure of Horse Magorse, Miss Belle Pum's arch nemesis. With his sharp suit and even sharper eyes, he's a stark contrast to our colourful candy floss family. Horse is known for his goody two-shoes persona, always trying to present us as mischievous and outrageous. But we at Jane Fitzcostelia and D. Bell Company, the creators of this video, see him for what he is, a villain. His surprise visit doesn't faze Miss Belle Pum, though. She welcomes him with a warm smile, ready to prove that our morning egg soup is not just a culinary adventure, but also a delightful treat for all. Will Horse Magorse be won over by our unique dish? Let's find out as we move on to adding the eggs. Just as we're about to move on to the next step, there's a sudden and then, just when we think it's a lost cause, lips, and she shakes her head, amused by her own folly, her eyes wide with anticipation. Could it be? She gasps, rushing over to the old wooden radio. She bends over, adjusting the dial, trying to catch the elusive signal. It's a struggle, but she doesn't give up. She's twisting and turning, almost in a dance, like she's trying to catch a fart with her bum. It's a sight to behold, our Miss Belle Pum, so engrossed in her task. And then, just when we think it's a lost cause, she straightens up, a triumphant grin on her face. "Got it!" she exclaims. And what comes through the radio takes us all by surprise. It's a story, a tale from the past. A Friday night in January, when Miss Belle Pum had organised a picnic dinner. She had invited 69 guests and friends, all eager to partake in the feast. But unbeknownst to her, she had also invited Horse Magorse. The memory brings a chuckle to her lips, and she shakes her head, amused by her own folly. But the story isn't over yet. We still have to find out what happened on that fateful night. But for now, let's get back to our morning egg soup, as the eggs are ready for their grand entrance. Here's where the magic happens. Crack open the eggs directly. The egg white becomes slightly firmer, start to dance around in the broth, twirling and swirling. So there you have it. By adding the eggs to our morning egg soup, its unique twist. Picture this. You dip your spoon into the soup, and along with the rich broth and delicate bits of tofu and vegetables, you scoop up a beautiful, soft-boiled egg. But this isn't just any egg. This egg has been gently cooked in the broth itself, allowing it to take on the flavours of the soup. The egg white becomes slightly firmer, while the yolk remains deliciously runny, creating a delightful contrast of textures. Now let's talk about the process. When you're cracking the eggs into the broth, you'll want to be gentle. The goal here is to keep the yolk intact. So, take your time. Treat these eggs with the same care and attention you'd give to a delicate piece of china or a rare piece of art. And as the eggs cook, you'll notice something amazing happening. The egg whites start to dance around in the broth, twirling and swirling, creating these beautiful cloud-like formations. It's like watching a ballet being performed in your pot. It's mesmerizing, isn't it? But let's not forget about the shells. Yes, they're going in the soup as well. They might seem like an odd addition, but they're actually going to add an extra layer of flavor. As they simmer in the broth, they release their own unique essence, infusing the soup with a subtle yet distinct eggshell taste. So there you have it. By adding the eggs in this unusual way, we're not only creating an interesting texture and presentation, we're also enhancing the flavor of our morning egg soup. With the eggs cooking, let's add some more flavor to our soup. Adding tofu and vegetables not only boosts the nutritional and minerals. We've got thinly sliced spring, the overall taste. As we stir these in together to create something truly comforting and delicious. Diced into bite-sized pieces, tofu is a fantastic source of protein that absorbs the rich flavors of our broth, adding a delightful chewy texture to every spoonful. Now let's swiftly move on to our vegetables. The vibrant spinach brings a touch of colour to our soup, along with a wealth of vitamins and minerals. We've got thinly sliced spring onions next, offering a mild, sweet flavour that complements the savoury broth. And let's not forget the minced garlic, a key ingredient that infuses our soup with a warm, aromatic depth. But what's a soup without some seasoning? This is where our soy sauce and sesame oil come into play. The soy sauce adds a salty, umami flavour that rounds out the profile of our soup, while the sesame oil introduces a hint of nuttiness, enhancing the overall taste. As we stir these in, we're careful to season with salt and pepper to taste, always mindful that the soy sauce has already contributed some saltiness. Incorporating these ingredients is more than just a step in the recipe. It's an opportunity to appreciate the role each one plays in creating a harmonious symphony of flavours and textures. Our morning egg soup is not just about the playful surprise of cracked eggs, it's also a celebration of these humble ingredients coming together to create something truly comforting and delicious. And there we have it. Our tofu and vegetables are beautifully incorporated into the soup. The aroma wafting from the pot is simply divine. Now all that's left is to allow our soup to simmer, letting the flavours meld together while the tofu and vegetables soften slightly. Let's simmer this soup to perfection. Simmering allows the flavours to meld together, and the tofu. We're looking to maintain a gentle bubble, not a full rush this step. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you. Let's not only add extra layers of flavour, but also let everything simmer together. The simmering process is crucial to our soup's final flavour. As the heat gently circulates within the pot, each ingredient exchanges flavours with the others, creating a harmonious blend that's much more than the sum of its parts. But remember, simmering isn't boiling. We're looking to maintain a gentle bubble, not a full-on rolling boil. So dial down the heat to low, just enough to keep the soup gently bubbling away. This slower, gentler cooking process allows the tofu and vegetables to soften slightly without becoming mushy or overcooked. As we let our soup simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes, we're giving it that crucial time to develop a depth of flavour that's truly satisfying. But remember, good cooking often requires patience. So, resist the temptation to rush this step. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you later. Now that we've allowed the soup to simmer and the flavours to fully develop, we're ready to serve. Carefully ladle the soup into serving bowls. Be sure to scoop up an egg for each bowl to ensure everyone gets to enjoy the playful twist of our morning egg soup. But we're not done yet. It's time to add our finishing touches. Garnish your soup with some optional toppings like sliced mushrooms, chopped cilantro, or even a sprinkle of chili flakes for a bit of heat. These garnishes not only add extra layers of flavour, but also bring a pop of colour to your bowl, making it just as pleasing to the eye as it is to the palate. There you have it, a fun, flavourful and nutritious morning egg soup with a playful twist. Enjoy? So, what makes our morning egg soup unique? It's a delightful surprise in every spoonful, adding an. Imagine this, a hot, hearty soup with a twist. You've got your usual ingredients, tender tofu, vibrant spinach and a savoury broth. But then you crack open an egg, directly into the boiling soup. It's a fun, unexpected addition that brings a bit of whimsy to your morning meal. And it's not just for show. The egg adds a rich, creamy element that takes this soup to the next level. It's a delightful surprise in every spoonful, adding an interesting texture and a boost of protein. So why not shake things up a bit? This morning egg soup is not only a delicious start to your day, but it's also a conversation starter. Remember, cooking should be fun, so don't shy away from trying something new. Enjoy your morning egg soup.